Gil Reyes reports on the history of the decree and how it's changed policing in Los Angeles.
It's finally over. More than a decade of federal oversight officially ends for the Los Angeles Police Department. Chief Charlie Beck says government supervision, though unpopular among his staff, improved his agency.
We've become accountable, we've become transparent, and we've become more effective than we've ever been.
The U.S. Justice Department issued the consent decree in 2001 following the LAPD Rampart scandal. That case found LAPD gang unit officers involved in evidence tampering, perjury, also the beating and framing of suspects. The decree ordered over 100 reforms, including improvements in tracking officer misconduct and better training of cadets.
In these last 12 years, the Los Angeles Police Department did not just comply with the consent decree, they took it to heart. They used it as a guide to change their culture.
The plan was expected to expire in 2006, but a federal judge extended the order, citing incompletion of the reforms. He also approved a plan to transfer monitoring duties to the LA Police Commission, a local agency. This May, the judge's signature dismissed that last remaining order, freeing the LAPD of oversight for the first time in 12 years.
There's lots more to do. We know that. But it should be done by the department through the leadership of this chief, through the leadership of the command staff.
Since the decree, it's also a more racially diverse group than before, which stresses community policing over use of force. Mandates in the decree that changed the department for the better. For LA This Week, I'm Gil Reyes.
And one day after the consent decree announcement, the mayor attended the LAPD graduation ceremony where he touched upon the lifting of the consent decree as well as other achievements within the department during his tenure as mayor. Rasha Goel reports.
It's not just the new recruits who are marking a milestone today at their graduation ceremony at the Los Angeles Police Academy in Elysian Park. So is Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa.
This will be my last graduation ceremony as your mayor. And I will miss these men and women in blue.
This new diverse class of 39 cadets is composed of 10 Caucasian, 24 Hispanic, 3 Korean, and 2 African-American graduating officers.
Everything you do has to be about building the trust and cooperation of community.
When the mayor took office in 2005, one of his goals was to grow the LAPD to over 10,000 officers, a vision that has become a reality. In fact, in these past 8 years, the Los Angeles Police Department has hired nearly 4,100 officers from 79 recruit classes.
10,000 police officers is not just a number. It was a promise to Angelenos that when it came to ensuring their basic safety and peace of mind, we were going to set the bar high, and we were going to reach it.
And another historic accomplishment for the LAPD, the recent dismissal of the federal consent decree that had governed the LAPD in the aftermath of scandal within the department.
And now, you are a national model for how the command staff, the community, and the cops on the street can work together to turn a department around.
For these new officers, being part of the LAPD is a point of pride.
I feel amazing. It's the best feeling I've ever had.
The mayor also commended LAPD officers for their work in making public safety a top priority. According to reports, since the mayor first took office, violent crime and homicides have gone down 49% and property crime 30%. From the LAPD headquarters, I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
Officials say the city's crime rates have dropped to their lowest levels since the 1950s. Young people across the state recently marked Kids Ocean Day by picking up trash along the coastline. Anita Bennett reports from Dockweiler State Beach, where students collected about 900 pounds of debris.
As waves rolled onto the sand, students, teachers, and volunteers spread out across the beach to scoop up trash.
If we pick up trash, the birds won't eat it and they won't die and pass on.
In all, 3,500 people from across LA County took part in the 20th annual Kids Ocean Day at Dockweiler State Beach.
Kids Ocean Day is about educating kids to be aware of the damage we humans are doing to the ocean.
Sponsored by the Los Angeles County Public Works Department, environmental groups, and the City of LA, the Adopt a Beach cleanup was a way for kids to make a difference while having fun. Several parents even got in on the action.
We're finding things like styrofoam and cigarette butts and just junk and cans and things that people leave behind.
City Councilman Bill Rosendahl also stopped by to offer the students a little support.
You got kids here who are experiencing Mother Nature at its finest.
And all the kids seem to be having a really good time. What did you find?
There's paper and like things of chocolate and from cups.
Organizers say each student and volunteer collects about a quarter pound of debris. And with 3,500 people out here, well, that's a lot of trash. At Dockweiler State Beach, I'm Anita Bennett for LA This Week.
And at the end of the day, the over 3,000 students formed artwork that could be seen from the sky by joining hands on the sand to depict a boy holding a seashell and saying, "Listen." And Anita Bennett continues with another report on how our city is committed to the environment, this time through the use of high-tech solar trash cans.
This busy neighborhood at the corner of 7th and Alvarado Streets is one of the most densely populated parts of the city. According to residents, it's also one of the dirtiest.
Sometimes I come through, go to McDonald's at night. People would dump out the trash cans and pillage through it just to see what they could find. So it's normally a pretty trashy area.
But that could soon change now that 5 new high-tech trash cans are being installed in the area, including in front of the MacArthur Park Metro stop.
A couple will go here on 6th Street and on 8th Street. So we're hitting all the hot spots where we have a lot of trash receptacle pickup and a lot of debris on the ground.
Councilman Ed Reyes joined residents and reps from Big Belly Solar. That's the East Coast company that makes the machines, and they all showed them off.
It compacts, so it's going to get 5 times the quantity that you'd get in a traditional trash can.
The solar-powered bins crush garbage down so they hold more inside. Then they send digital signals to let sanitation workers know when they're full. That in turn reduces overflow and the amount of trash on the streets. Local business owners say garbage has been a big problem in this neighborhood for years, but they hope this new trash can will help.
It's important to me, being in the restaurant business, that the streets must be clean, the sidewalks must be clean, otherwise my customers lose their appetite.
The units are not cheap at about $5,000 each, but they're expected to reduce trash pickups from 5 days a week to just a couple of times a month. And over the long haul, that should save the city a lot of green. In MacArthur Park, I'm Anita Bennett for LA This Week.
Big Belly solar bins are already being used in Santa Monica, Philadelphia, Boston, and several other cities. Hard work and persistence pay off for a group of young students. Rasha Goel introduces us to some young people who may have had a rough past, but who are now looking toward a bright future.
Using drugs led me to selling them. Then, making money became my addiction. So I started burglarizing homes and robbing people. At 17, I was convicted of armed robbery.
After 3 years in a juvenile facility, Ramon Leja's life has been transformed, thanks to the LA Conservation Corps. The nonprofit organization recently acknowledged their members' successes with a celebratory luncheon.
Every year for the last 22 years, not quite this big, we recognize and honor over nearly 200 scholars that are Corps members and former graduates that are receiving scholarships to continue their education and post-secondary success.
The Conservation Corps helps at-risk youth between the ages of 14 to 24 by providing them with skills, education, and work experience in conservation and service projects.
They fix parks. They get rid of graffiti. They work in the ocean types of studies. We have 3 charter schools that we run.
133 students received a scholarship from the LA Conservation Corps and will be continuing on to a community college or a four-year university. For many of these students, the LA Conservation Corps has given them hope for a brighter future and provided them with the tools to achieve their dreams.
It feels good, like that they're actually helping me with my education. You know, I never wanted money to be a barrier in between me and my education.
I plan to study business, and my main focus was to open a nonprofit organization just like this one as so I can help the at-risk youth, because I once was at-risk youth.
This year, FedEx and Martha and Ari Swiller were recognized for raising funds to support the organization. LA City Councilman Ed Reyes showed his support for the kids.
Many of the kids come from single-parent households. Many of the kids come from households where the parents are becoming familiar with the culture and don't understand the track towards education. And so building up their confidence, building up their education skills, and building up their identity as contributors to our great society is so invaluable.
One change today, making a difference in many lives for tomorrow. In Los Angeles, I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
The LA Conservation Corps was founded in 1986 and has become a leader in workforce development and alternative education for inner-city youth and young adults. And a member of the LA Conservation Corps was among those honored this year during the city's Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Rich Samuels takes us to City Hall for the annual celebration of diversity and service to the community.
The mayor and LA City Council members helped kick off Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month recently at a special ceremony inside and outside City Hall.
This history is the history of triumph, the triumph of openness and opportunity over bigotry and violence.
Those singled out for special recognition included Bruce Sato, recipient of the Spirit of Los Angeles Award and executive director of the Los Angeles Conservation Corps.
My spirit is genuine and true because of all of you, and also because of my small family that is here.
Entrepreneurial chef Jet Tila received the Dream of Los Angeles Award.
So it's not about me, it's about all of us, and I'm absolutely proud to stand in front of you in the city that created me and that I love so much.
KSCI TV Channel 18, LA's #1 Asian language TV station, received the Hope of Los Angeles Award for its service to the community.
We understand the duty and honor that we accept, and we are committed to use that to change the lives of people in the Asian community.
The celebration marked just the beginning of a month-long celebration of art, music, and creative workshops throughout the city. I'm Rich Samuels for LA This Week.
Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month events are coordinated by the city's Department of Cultural Affairs. The City Council recognizes officers who make up the LAPD Human Trafficking Unit, seniors fighting back against scammers, and a new horse-friendly park in the Valley. These stories and more in City Beat. Councilmember Bernard Parks recognized members of the LAPD Human Trafficking Unit. Between January of 2012 to April of this year, the LAPD unit conducted 94 investigations, identified and rescued 67 females, 39 under the age of 18, and made 52 human trafficking-related arrests.
The average age of which minors are involved or enticed or forced into this commercial sex trade is 13 years of age.
The LAPD partners with non-governmental organizations in conducting investigations and providing housing and psychological care for survivors. As part of the city's recognition of Senior Fraud Awareness Day this month, Councilman Dennis Zine joined senior citizens at Felicia Mayhood Multi-Purpose Senior Center to help bring awareness to scams against seniors. The seniors there staged a 60s-style Stop Senior Fraud protest and acted out scenarios recreating current senior scams. City leaders hope by exposing scams that often take advantage of a senior's compassion and trusting nature, they make it harder for scammers to succeed. The Department of Recreation and Parks, along with Councilmember Mitchell Englander and the Bureau of Engineering, recently opened the new Aliso Canyon Park in Porter Ranch. The park features the first public equestrian arena in the northwest San Fernando Valley. Amenities include a trailer parking and staging area, an automatic horse waterer, and cross ties. The park is not just for horse owners. Improvements also include walking paths, meadow areas, and new picnic tables.
I see people reading, relaxing. I've seen people having picnics out here. It's beautiful. It's a nice change for the area.
Bike racks, security solar lighting, and native landscaping make the park a welcoming place for the community.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of Councilmember Jan Perry, Councilmember Jose Huizar recently helped honor some of the city's crossing guards.
I get a good feeling knowing that somebody is out there taking the time to make sure that our kids are arriving safely as they go to and from school.
The crossing guard program is overseen by the city's Department of Transportation. Approximately 400 men and women serve as the city's crossing guards at elementary schools across the city. We just told you about the new equestrian park in the Valley, and in South LA, residents are also celebrating the opening of a new park that's got both kids and parents excited. Anna Marcos has more on the 61st Street Park.
Residents are getting a little extra muscle to help their workout in the South LA neighborhood, and the kids are enjoying plenty of playtime as they celebrate the grand opening of this brand new pocket park.
We'll bring my two daughters and my nephew to come and play, and I do some workout, I guess. It's good for everybody.
I love it. I adore it. Thank you for my park.
The 61st Street Park is the 12th of what will be more than 50 parks planned by the city in the most underserved of LA's urban neighborhoods. This park was previously the site of a foreclosed and abandoned house.
What I love most about this program is to take a blighted, bad situation and make it better for the children and their family.
We're putting 53 new parks throughout Los Angeles in the places in Los Angeles that want them and need them the most, so that we'll no longer be park poor in any way.
The pocket parks are built to keep maintenance low. They have safety gates which close and lock at night, solar lighting, sustainable turf, plants and landscaping, and other earth-friendly features.
We have a play tower for the kids, and it's a universal access play tower, so it doesn't matter what your physical ability is, everyone can play on it.
LAPD officers from the Newton Division will be doing regular patrols of the area, but neighbors say they will keep an eye out as well to make sure their park stays safe for the neighborhood and the kids. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The park was built with both federal and local funding dollars through public and private partnerships. In this week's list of things to do, a family-friendly festival, a Stanley Kubrick exhibit at the Central Library, and a show-stopping season finale for the Los Angeles Master Chorale. If you and your family are looking for some outdoor fun, head on over to the second annual East LA Community Festival on Saturday, June 1st from noon to 6 p.m. Hosted by the Neighborhood Music School, the event is an afternoon of family activities, food and resource tables from community organizations, and face painting, a hula hoop competition, and a water balloon toss for kids. The music school is located at 358 South Boyle Avenue. Admission is free. For details, call 323-268-0762. The LA Central Library downtown has on display from now through Saturday, June 29th, the exhibit Stanley Kubrick, A Life in Film. The exhibit features a small collection of poster and still photography images from the director's work, which include 13 full-length films. The exhibit invites you to pore over the books that accompany the exhibit, visit the paintings that influence the movie sets, or read the photo diary of an actor from Full Metal Jacket. The Central Library is located at 630 West 5th Street downtown. Go to lapl.org for details. And on Sunday, June 2nd, starting at 7 p.m., the Los Angeles Master Chorale will present a show-stopping finale on its 50th anniversary season at the Walt Disney Concert Hall. The season concludes with an all-hands-on-deck celebration of American choral music. You'll hear sentimental favorites, new standard-setting works, plus cutting-edge arrangements by three masters of the American spiritual. The Walt Disney Concert Hall is located at 111 South Grand Avenue downtown. Go to laphil.com for details. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you could catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Clean water means preserving an LA icon. Echo Park is probably best known for the lotus that bloom every year in the lake. But with water pollution and other factors, it really led to a disappearance and a decline of the lotus. But with the passage of Prop O in 2004, we received money to dredge the lake and make it a better place for the native wildlife that live here and, of course, for the lotus. Rehabilitating the lake has really helped us preserve an LA icon.
LA City View Channel 35. Your city, your channel.
your Los Angeles City Council. Today is Tuesday, May 28th. Again, welcome. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. If you want to speak before this council, there are public comment cards in the back. Just fill them out and give them to one of our sergeants that you see on either side of the chambers. Madam Clerk, I believe we have a quorum. Could you please call the roll?
Scayino, Englander, Garcetti, Bizarre, Carrasco, Corrigan, LaBonge, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Zion, Weston, 12 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Garcetti moves. Mr. Englander seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Zine moves. Mr. Weezer seconds.
Mr. President, today is Tuesday, and now would be the time for the flag salute.
Okay, if I could ask everyone to rise for the salute of the flag that will be led by Mayor-elect Eric Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Please place your hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Garcetti. If we could, Madam Clerk, begin going through the agenda.
Mr. President, before we go through the agenda, there are requests to continue items 1C to June 11th and items 11 and 12 to May 29th.
Okay, without objection, that'll be the order.
Item 1 is an item notice for public hearing.
Cards?
Yes, there are cards.
Okay, then we'll... how many A, B, C's, and D's does it have on it? Are there cards on everything? Is a better question.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll just hold that item. Let's go through the next section.
Items 2 through 10 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Okay, specials, members, specials. Mr. Koretz.
Item 10, please.
Okay, hold item 10 at the request of Paul Koretz. Mr. Englander.
I'd like to carry item 5 until tomorrow if we could. Technical correction.
Item 5 will be continued until tomorrow, Tuesday the 29th.
Number 9.
Wednesday the 29th. Okay, let's... Richard?
Number 9 special.
Number 9. Hold item 9 for Mr. Alarcon. We have held item 9. Let's prepare to vote on the other items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, let's go through the next section on the agenda, Madam Clerk.
Items 11 through 37 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before us. Okay, let's go through the cards first.
Cards on items 13, 15, 16, 19, 21, 22, 23, 25, 26, 28, 32, and 34.
Does that leave anything else to vote on?
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. Weezer.
3.
What'd you say?
33.
33 for Mr. Weezer. Okay, let's prepare to vote on the remaining items.
Excuse me, Mr. President, just for the record, for item 29, the fiscal impact statement as stated on the agenda is incorrect. The fiscal impact statement should read, the cost of the increased bonus is approximately $180,000 annually, although the Los Angeles World Airports reimburses the Los Angeles Police Department for the salaries of these officers when they perform work on Los Angeles World Airport property. The additional cost of the increased bonus will not be charged to Los Angeles World Airport, but will instead be borne entirely by the Los Angeles Police Department.
Okay, so with you reading that clarification into the record, we can move forward and vote? Okay, Mr. Parks.
Yes, I'd like to ask that we, let me get my numbers here. Have number 29 special, I need to ask the CAO a couple of questions. And then on number 35, if we could have that special and out of order because we have police personnel and family members here. And then I'd like to have 37 as a special.
Okay, can we hold those items for at Mr. Parks' request? Let's vote on the remaining items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, where does that bring us on the agenda?
Mr. President, that takes council to presentations or items called special.
Okay, Mr. Parks or Miss Perry, are you guys ready to go? Miss Perry? Oh, yes, Mr. Englander.
Consider item 14, please.
Okay, before Miss Perry gets to the center podium, let's vote for reconsideration on item 14. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Boy, you guys get a holiday and holding all kinds of items today. Yes, Mr. Englander.
On 14, I'd like it just continued for 30 days, if I can.
Okay, item 14, at the request of Mr. Englander, will be continued for 30 days. Madam Clerk, what would be that date?
June 28th.
Mr. Koretz?
Mr. President, I appreciate your assistance in moving item 37 quickly, but SB 405 was actually amended on Friday, and we haven't had a chance to digest it, so we actually wanted to pull that back into committee.
Okay, so...
Item 37.
But what Mr. Koretz is requesting is not that this be called special. He said the bill was just amended, Mr. Parks.
So if we could pull it, have you send it back to Rules
Committee. He wants to have it returned to committee so that it could be reviewed. Mr. Parks, are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I would ask to go back to committee, but I also would ask that we put in a motion 11-1531-S3 that talks about the health issues that keeps coming up about multi-use bags, and we can't get that out of the E&E committee. And so we're asking that while we're going through this review, that health issue get evaluated. The several universities have come out with documented reports about the health issues dealing with multi-use
Okay,
bags.
well, let's deal with item 37. Where it relates to that, let me have a conversation with the chair and see if I can't get that for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? All right, so Mr. Koretz, that's going to go back to committee.
Yeah. So this will go back to Rules Committee.
Yes.
Correct. Yes, thank you.
Okay. With that said, Ms. Perry.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'd like to ask the members of Piece by Piece to join me here at the podium. Why don't you roll up here? Can you help her get up? She should be in the front so people can see her. And bring your pieces with you. I am joined by Skid Row Housing Trust residents LaCheryl Porter, Jeanette Levin, Patrick Strait, and the founder of Piece by Piece, Sophie Alpert, and teachers Dawn Mendelson, Leigh Adams, Luz McDorini, B. Jones, Marielle Swinnon, and of course the artists whose art you can see to my right. Okay, all the artists are over here on my right. These artists are Wakola Miles, Donald and Linda Taylor, Ninive Santiago, Juan Navarro, Carol Ballard, Frank Urdiales. Frank, I think, has 6 of his family members here today.
I just walked in.
Oh, you just walked in. Okay. Oh, wow. That's great. Okay. And then Juana Beltran, Wilma Williams, Deborah Diaz, Jose Morales. Now, Sophie, where is Sophie? Come on up here. Stand next to me. Thank you. Sophie. Sophie Alpert is the founder of Piece by Piece, and I'm thrilled to recognize these individuals and Sophie. This is an organization that specializes in giving individuals in South Los Angeles and in the Skid Row community not a hand out, but a hand up. Piece by Piece was founded in 2007 by Sophie Alpert, who, after taking a successful trip to South Africa, witnessed micro-enterprise agencies that empowered participants by teaching them a marketable skill and helping them to sell their work. Piece by Piece uses this model to host workshops where individuals are taught by professional artists utilizing recycled materials to create mosaic art that they can sell and earn supplemental income. Many of the folks here today come directly from the streets of Skid Row and are brought into supportive housing and supportive environments where they can explore their creativity and learn a skill that not only develops their technical abilities, but enhances their sense of community and teamwork. This expressive freedom can provide relief to those overwhelmed by the challenges of life. The organization had expanded to over 30 new participants in just a few months from their very small and humble beginnings on a building at Broadway and 51st with only 8 participants and 1 instructor. What began as a program to help underserved residents of Los Angeles earn some much-needed supplemental income has become so much more. And as we developed and discovered, as the organization developed and discovered many talented artists who had no outlet to express themselves or participate in a nurturing community, the organization has grown accordingly. So I wanted to thank Sophie, the teachers, and of course, the artists and the residents of Skid Row Housing Trust, and recognize them here today for empowering themselves and for helping them discover their hidden artistic talents and to build their self-confidence in their ability to create beauty anywhere. And thank you for building up all of our friends and family residents piece by piece. And Sophie, if you just say a few words about the artists who are here today.
This has been a building of a community, and I am so proud of every single person that has contributed and helped grow this organization. And we are just stronger every day. And thank you from the bottom of my heart to everybody for your support. It has been a lot of people contributing in a labor of love. Thank you.
Tell them how they can buy their art.
Oh. Yes, and we would love for everybody to be supportive and purchase a piece of art. You can contact us through Facebook. We have a piece-by-piece page, and just send a note, and that would be a great way to support the artist. Thank you.
Do you have a website?
We do have a website as well, piecebypiece.org.
All right. Very good. Very good. We gotta move the product. So we're going to go in the back and take a nice picture, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So which building is it?
What is it?
Is it close to me? Just a building?
Mr. Parks, if you want to begin your presentation.
Watch your foot. Okay, there we go. We're clear. I think we're clear. Almost.
To your left, and go around to your right. To that doorway, and then to your left.
Madam Clerk, I believe we do have an item. Maybe we can move on.
Yes, Mr. President, item 29, call special by Mr. Parks. I believe it's ready to be voted on.
Okay, so let's open the roll on 29. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Great. And as our presenters leave, I do believe we have one more presentation, I believe. And
thank you. Thank you very much. We're going to honor today the View Park Prep Boys and Girls Basketball Team. We ask them to come up at this time. Young ladies, come on this side. Males on that side. And we're also going to be joined by several coaches, Coach Harrell, Coach Earl Williams, and also Coach Thomas Edison. Yeah, just stand up close because I want to get you all on TV. Take off those visitors tags. Come on up.
Take off the visitors tag.
Come on up. Come on up. Okay.
How you doing, Harold Jones?
Harold, how you doing?
Good, sir, bro. This is just a student here.
Okay, all right, got you.
And this is a student on the girls.
Oh, okay.
Speaking for the girls.
Oh, okay.
Daisy Edison.
Thank you very much. Today we're here to recognize the View Park Prep boys and girls high school basketball teams as they both won the 2013 CIF City Championship titles. The boys team advanced to the finals and won its fourth CIF Los Angeles City Section Basketball Championship in 6 years. In the championship game, the team was led by junior guard Jordan Starling, who led all scorers with 19 points. Next up was sophomore forward Broderick Jones, who added 14 points and 12 rebounds. Doesn't stop there. Sophomore forward Chance Camachi had collected 15 rebounds. Junior guard Luis Medeiros scored 13 points. Sophomore guard T.J. Johnson rounded off the balance by scoring 10 points. View Park advanced to the CIF State Basketball Championship, winning its first round game by defeating San Diego Rock Academy 72-43 in the CIF State quarterfinals. They then faced defending state champions and ranked @1 in the state Village Christian. It was a thrilling game that went back and forth before the standing room only crowd. Village Christian missed a shot at the buzzer, giving View Park a 71-69 victory. In the CIF state semifinals, View Park faced San Diego Horizon High School. Before yet another standing room only crowd, View Park fell short to Horizon 69-66. The girls basketball team, known as the Lady Knights from View Park, blazed their way to the CIF Los Angeles City Basketball Championship, where they won their fourth CIF Los Angeles City Section Basketball Championship in 6 years. The team was led by junior guard Mauricia Farmer, who led all scorers with 23 points. Senior guard Charity Farmy dropped in 15 points, and teammate senior forward Tony Truitt finished with 13 points and 12 rebounds. With the team working in harmony, the Lady Knights advanced to the CIF state playoffs. The Lady Knights cruised to victory with a 73-35 win over Calexico Vincent Memorial High. In the CIF state second round basketball playoff, the Lady Knights faced tough Fresno Emmanuel High School. After a nail-biter, they lost to Emmanuel 44-41. I want to present to you 8th District schools charter school located on Crenshaw Boulevard, who has excelled academically and athletically, and certainly are a pride of this community to win. Both of these teams have won 4 championships of the last 6 years, and so I just want to give them applause. We'd now like to ask Coach Harrell to come and speak for the boys team, then Coach Thomas for the girls team, and then we'll have 2 students, Earl Williams speak for the boys team, and Dejanay Edison for the women's team.
How everybody doing this morning? I want to thank everyone on the council for inviting us down, and we appreciate the invitation coming down. But we had a good year this year. Grew from the beginning and stood tall at the end. And got some good young men. Got some good young men coming back. And we got a good group of guys. It was all like family. So
I think the Lakers need all three of them.
And they coming back, got some good young men. So I want to thank you guys again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have Coach Thomas?
Coach Thomas.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Coach Thomas, and the girls had a great season. And I was just happy to be proud. I'm proud of the girls, and I'm glad to be part of U Park and the girls team. And we're hoping to repeat next year. And these girls, they are seniors. They came in as young ladies, and now they're leaving as young women. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the basketball team, we just really want to thank you guys for honoring us today. This season was definitely one to remember. A lot of ups and downs, but we stuck together as brothers and persevered and prospered. We won a city championship and went really far in states. So I know this is not the it for my family. Next year they're going to take it to another level, and I'm excited to see that. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. There's a lot to say about my team, but to keep it simple, this was a great way to end off my senior year. I've been playing basketball here for 4 years, and to win the championship with people I've played with all 4 years is a great thing, and I just want to thank you guys for bringing us out and recognizing us for our accomplishment. Thank you.
Come here, David. I just want to say that, we believe in being a champion on the field and a champion in the classroom also. We have Deja right here who's graduating. She will be attending Cal Berkeley.
Yeah,
right
go Bears.
Go Bears.
Congratulations.
And we also had 2 young men who are all state first team in the state of California, Roderick Jones and Chance Comanche.
Very good. Thank you. We're going to go in the back and take some photos. Don't leave any of your property out here.
Are you going to get it?
I'm not getting it.
Get all your property. Yes. They're going directly to
Madam Clerk, what's before us now?
Mr. President, item 9, called special by Councilmember Alarcon.
Okay. Councilmember Alarcon, item number 9. You don't want to speak to it? Okay, we don't have any cards on that item either. So let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes, 1 no.
Okay, Madam Clerk, next item.
Item 10, called special by Councilmember Koretz.
9 forthwith.
Mr. President, on number 9, I was away from my desk. Can I also be a no on that? It won't change the outcome of the vote, please.
Okay, that's a no. All right. What's in front of us, Madam Clerk?
Item 10, called special by Councilmember Koretz.
Councilor Koretz, we'll call that special.
Thank you, Mr. President. This past Saturday, over 2 million people marched in 436 cities in 52 countries, including hundreds who marched right here in LA to City Hall to protest the unregulated spread of genetically modified seeds and the business practices of the pesticide and seed company Monsanto. Monsanto and its lobby group spent nearly $50 million last fall to defeat Prop 37 by less than 2%. The money they spent likely kept Californians from being able to have the most basic right to know whether or not the food they're eating and feeding their children contains genetically modified ingredients. Now, Section 735 of H.R. 933 was snuck into an emergency congressional bill which essentially exempts large biotech firms such as Monsanto from the judicial review process. For one quick example, in 2010, despite a federal judge ordering a halt on all planting of GMO sugar beets until the completion of an environmental review, Monsanto, which controls 95% of the sugar beet market, ignored the court order and proceeded without regulation, oversight, or transparency. This corporate bullying of the public interest has to stop. Luckily, the budget bill will be revisited in the winter, and we can demand that it be removed. I urge your aye vote on this resolution.
Okay, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Oh, Mr. Krikorian, it's my understanding that you'd like to make an announcement or quick presentation. Go right ahead. Wait, is that mine or yours?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We have so much to be proud of in this city when we see the tremendous achievements of our young people, as we saw the new park champions who were here earlier. And I want to introduce you to another of our great championship schools. And this is a record of accomplishment that is really second to none anywhere in the city. I'm talking about the North Hollywood High School Science Bowl champions, who are almost the perpetual champions of the DWP's Science Bowl. The North Hollywood High School team has been so dominant in this competition that the DWP provides every year that they've won 15 of the regional championships out of 21. They've won 8 in a row in the LAUSD area of the Science Bowl championships. They've been national champions, and they've been in the top 5 of the national championship 8 times. It's an extraordinary record of science achievement, and at a time when here in Southern California we're focusing so much on encouraging science, technology, engineering, and math education as being the key to the future of our economy, North Hollywood High School has made all of us incredibly, incredibly proud. They've just returned from Washington, D.C., where they competed in the Department of Energy's National Science Bowl, where they placed 7th in the entire United States of America. I'd like to have you join me, please, in welcoming the North Hollywood High School Championship Science Bowl team. And leading the effort of the Science Bowl team has been their incredible coach and teacher, Alter Main. Mr. Main teaches chemistry, physics, geology, and math, while also, in his spare time, coaching the Ocean Sciences Bowl and the Science Olympiad team and the Science Bowl. It's interesting, Mr. Main actually skipped 7 grades and started university at the age of 11. He graduated with his Bachelor of Science degree in geology at 16. And, you know, who hasn't? Right?
I have to interrupt you, Mr. Krikorian. 11 years old?
11 years old, right.
11 years old.
But, you know, it took him another 5 to get his Bachelor of Science degree, so... He began his PhD program at Caltech, and with that kind of a resume and that kind of background, of course, Mr. Main could write his ticket to do anything that he chose to do in this field of science and technology. And what he chose was to pursue his passion. and his passion was teaching and giving an opportunity to other young people to flourish and succeed and make the most of their abilities. And he has done that, and he has done that, I think, in extraordinary fashion. So I'm pleased to recognize and welcome to the podium the coach of the North Hollywood High School Science Bowl team, Alter Main.
Well, now I'm thoroughly embarrassed. Thank you for having us here. Thank you, Paul, and to the rest of the City Council for taking the time. These are some exceptional young people, and the competition is a lot of fun. They get a lot out of it. I should introduce them briefly. There's 5 of them. They're all amazing people, and they make my job a lot of fun. Our team captain is Chiyoung Kim right here. He was incredible, carried the team at Nationals. He's going to Harvard next year. I think they're giving him a full ride. It's a pretty sweet deal. And he's a great guy. Also going to Harvard next year, also with a full ride, is Woojin Park. And going to MIT just down the street. And the green shirt from Nationals is Lily Zhou. And then we've got one flying across the pond to go to attend Cambridge next year in the UK. That's Sunazek Yolu. And we got a sophomore who's sort of slow because he's 16 and doesn't have a bachelor's degree yet. But there's Richard Wang, next year's team captain, and also a great guy. Thank you very much to the DWP for sponsoring the competition. It's wonderful for the students. It's wonderful for the teachers. And it's a nice way to reward and push achievement for the kids who would otherwise just not find a challenge in a regular classroom. They get a lot out of it, and they go on to do great things in college and beyond. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Main. Mr. President, I'd also like to introduce Walter Zeisel, because the DWP has sponsored this Science Bowl for the last 21 years, and it's just been such a great opportunity for the young people of our city to be able to pursue their dreams and pursue their emphasis in science and technology. And so I'd like to ask Walter Zeisel, the LADWP's Manager of Education Outreach, to come forward and talk a little bit about the program and how much it means to our city. Walter?
Thank you, Councilmember Krikorian and Mr. President Wesson and Mayor-elect Garcetti and members of the City Council. It's been a privilege for the Department of Water and Power for the past 20 years to serve as the coordinating regional sponsor for the Science Bowl, covering the area of the Los Angeles Unified District, but including schools, public, private, parochial, from all across the city. We've been able to attract some of the most outstanding science and scholars in the high school level, and it's been very exciting for our volunteers. It's one way, sort of a major way, that the Department of Water and Power is able to encourage science, engineering, students to pursue these fields. We also, in addition to Science Bowl, and we have other sponsors involved, like Hitachi and First Wind and Gelson's Markets, and 100 volunteers and a coordinating group of about 10 volunteers to work with me. But we also sponsor with the district over the years a number of curriculum development and distribution projects. We're working on one on renewable energy right now and another one on water quality lab. We also have a youth service academy for at-risk students where the students actually work at the department to gain experience for jobs with the city. And we also have 15 adopted schools around the city as well where our employees are involved. So education has been at the forefront of DWP for 20 years, and there's a lot of us at the department that really enjoy working with the students that are our future. And we appreciate the recognition at the council, and we'll continue to support these kinds of efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Walter. Members, please again recognize the pride of Los Angeles, the North Hollywood High School Science Bowl championship team.
Give them a round of applause.
All right, going back to you guys. Go.
Okay, Mr. Parks, we'll go to item 35. Is there any public comment on that? No. Mr. Parks, item 35.
But that's detectives from our gang homicide division, Durazo and Ross, to come up. Also, the family members, Beverly Rowe, sister, and brother Darren McBride. We're going to ask the detectives to give us an overview of the circumstances of the case, and then the family members will speak. We have Detective Durazo representing LAPD.
Members of City Council, thank you for your time. My name is Detective B. Durazo. I'm currently assigned to the Criminal Gang Homicide Division of the Los Angeles Police Department. On August 25th, 2012, I was assigned the investigation into the murder of victim Tyree Rowe. Tyree Rowe was seated in his vehicle in the area of 77th Street and Gramercy Place when unknown suspects shot Tyree Rowe while he was in his vehicle. The suspects fled the scene, and unfortunately, Tyree Rowe succumbed to his injuries. To this date, we have not been able to positively identify the suspects in this case, and we are hoping that a monetary reward will help motivate witnesses come forward to help us identify the suspect or the suspects responsible for Tyree Rowe's murder.
Thank you. Could we have Mr. McBride come up and speak on behalf of the family?
Mr. President, fellow City Council members, I want to thank you for the opportunity for us to come on behalf of my brother. I'm here with my sister, and Tyree was my baby brother, and he was shot and killed, shot in the back of the head, and unfortunately he was unable to speak or talk. So he died in a hospital alone with no family around him. And I am learning that we talk about closure. And closure is not a destination because it doesn't come, because I'm going to be without my brother for the rest of my life. But it is a process. And there are stages in that process. And I asked you as a city council and the public to help us take the next stage. Detective Durazo and her partner Ross have been amazing. And for them to come here and ask for this, I appreciate it. But they must know that it can help. I myself, as a former police officer, know that these things can be a domino to not only solve Tyree's murder, but others that may be connected. So I thank you for the opportunity, and I ask for you to approve this measure to help my family achieve another stage in that process of closure. And then more importantly, to get these people off the street so that no other family has to begin that process. Thank you.
Thank you. Detective Durazo, you may have said it earlier, but would you give your phone contact where the community can reach you?
Yes, the names are Detective B. Durazo. My partner is Detective Dave Ross. We are out of Criminal Gang Homicide Division, and our contact number is area code 213-485-4341.
Thank you. And colleagues, this is a $50,000 reward motion in bringing the suspects involved in a homicide of Tyree Rowe. Occurred on Saturday, August 25th, 2012 at 6:30 p.m. In the vicinity of 1958 West 77th Street. We ask for an aye vote.
That guy has a filthy mouth.
Okay. Let's, Mr. Parks, we're going to prepare to vote on this. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Hey, members, at this time, we're going to hear item 32, and I have cards on item 32, and then we'll have a presentation and a discussion. Tina Hassan with the LA Chamber, Michael Carrion, and is it Richard Tostado? Please come forward. So if I could get Tina. Tina, are you here? Please come forward.
Good morning, council members. My name is Tina Hossein, and I'm here representing the Los Angeles Area Chamber of Commerce and our 1,600 members to oppose the initiative which will create a new city health department. Los Angeles County Department of Public Health already performs most of the functions that the proposed new Department of City Health would undertake. At a time of great fiscal strain for the city's coffers, it will be redundant, irresponsible, and costly to establish a new department with estimated ongoing costs of $50 million annually from the city's general fund, excluding startup costs. Furthermore, we are concerned that a new department would impose duplicative and confusing new processes to a business community already complying with DPH's health inspections and mandates. Such redundancy would add especially significant burdens to the food service and retail industries in Los Angeles. This proposed ballot initiative would also require the city to establish a new city health department within 120 days of passage and bar the use of outside consultants in most cases, making a smooth implementation of a large new department likely confusing for businesses which deal regularly with health regulations. In order to maintain certainty among the business community, which interfaces regularly with DPH, and avoid costly and unnecessary additions to the city's budget, we recommend you oppose this ballot initiative. Thank you for your attention to this important matter.
Thank you, Michael Carrion, followed by Richard Tostada. And then I have a Michael Algarzi. Please come forward. And just come to the mic and state your name.
Good morning. My name is Michel Algazi. I represent the Fine Foods Group, which is a group of over 800 early-stage food companies here in the LA area. In my experience, the LA County Health Department, while not perfect, is a very effective public agency. It has done an excellent job in protecting public health and promoting environmental safety. Public health is not something we can afford to play with. Even in the best of times, creating a new public health agency from scratch would introduce unnecessary risks into the system. In this time of fiscal austerity, giving the city this kind of enormous burden is especially irresponsible. I strongly support the motion of opposing the creation of a new public health department. I appreciate your time.
Okay, the next speaker, please come forward.
I'm Richard Tostado, and I'm just here to...
and your name is?
Richard Tostado.
Yes, sir. Okay.
And I'm here to just let you know that I've been sober for 2 years, and I went through the program myself, the substance abuse program, and the reason why it works is because they all stick together, and they've been doing it for a long time. So I'm just here speaking on behalf of them, so thanks.
Hey, and congratulations on your sobriety.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Michael.
How you doing, Herb?
I'm okay, man.
Good. God bless you. I'm here to speak on behalf of the resolution because I think opening up a new health services is going to be detrimental to the city of Los Angeles. And the reason for that is that nobody's going to have experience working together. Nobody's going to have experience doing anything in the health area with the city of Los Angeles. And in the long run, who's going to pay for this? We're bankrupt already, and yet you want to open a new department. Where's all the funding going to come from? And when that funding runs out, Where's the rest of the money going to come from for these employees and their retirement and everything else? I think all the people that are not listening right now should pay attention a little bit. I'm asking that out of respect and courtesy, like you guys demand when you guys are up here. So healthcare reform is around the block, and you guys all voted for it. So take into consideration, if you're going to start a new health department in the city of Los Angeles, what it consists of. All these people are going to need benefits. All these people are going to need retirement packages. You can't meet the retirement packages that you have now. And you want to add that much more people to your retirement? Where's that money coming from? Get a clear understanding of where the money is before you guys take a vote on something. And if the money's not there, then don't vote on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Dr. I think it's Peter Cantona. Doc, please come forward. Yes, sir.
Good morning. My name is Peter Katona. I'm a professor of medicine at UCLA in the Department of Medicine. And I'm also a practicing infectious disease physician here in the city. I wanted to voice my concerns about emergency preparedness and response, which is an area that I focus on in my research. And my feeling is that having this happen would be a tremendous detriment to our ability to respond to a disaster. There are lots of things that need to be set up when disaster strikes. There has to be points of distribution. There has to be surveillance techniques out there. And my feeling is that to have the redundancy of resources to do this would be a tremendous liability in our way to handle any kind of a disaster. And that's after the process is enforced. The transition process would be even a worse disaster if this resolution were to go forward.
Thank you. If I could call Dr. Fielding and our former CAO, Bill Fujioka, to the center table. Please take a seat. And they're being joined by our current CAO, Miguel Santana. Mr. Koretz.
For just a moment before we start, if I could introduce third graders from Valley Beth Shalom and Encino and their teachers Catherine, Nicole, and Yoki.
All right, they're all in blue shirts. Stand up, guys, stand up and look at the TV monitors and say, hi, Mom. Okay. Good job, Mr. Koretz. Okay, who wants to start off?
I want to start.
Okay.
Well, good morning. It's been a long time since I've been in this chamber. Walking behind this horseshoe brought back a number of memories, mostly good. No, I'm kidding. But thank you very much for this opportunity to speak on this issue. Before you is a resolution that would create a city health department, specifically a city public health department here in Los Angeles. As you know, the County of Los Angeles provides this service right now. I have Dr. Fielding with us. He's a public health officer. He's head of the Department of Public Health. He'll be speaking to the technical aspects of this. I'm going to speak to the kind of practical reality. The County of Los Angeles is responsible for has principal responsibility for the public health program in this county. By creating a separate department in the city of Los Angeles, you will create a very, very difficult and I think a disastrous situation for our public health services in the county. What you don't see is what we do every single day when it comes to disease surveillance, when it comes to protecting the public health of the residents of the entire county of Los Angeles. We have over 4,000 employees who perform a very vital function when it comes to public health services. If you create a separate department within the city of Los Angeles, you're looking at minimum an expenditure of $50 million. That's not counting what will cost to create this department in terms of new infrastructure, new buildings, the services, the supplies. But most importantly, we have individuals in your communities who have relationships with people throughout not only the public health, but the healthcare sector, but it goes beyond that. We have relationships with your schools. We have relationships with your businesses. We have relationships with your community services. And what you need to understand is when it comes to the disease that we monitor, there are no boundaries. There are no city boundaries. They don't stop at the border of City of Los Angeles. They don't stop at the borders of any city, one city within the County of Los Angeles. The importance of having one department have principal responsibility for this function is paramount, is absolutely critical. And some will say, well, 3 cities have a public health department. Yes, but the scope and level of services they provide are not equal to what we provide. The level of coordination and oversight and services we provide to all cities cannot be equaled. We have 5 public health centers in the city of Los Angeles, but we have 14 in total. And of the 14, we have another half a dozen who serve your residents on every single day. The best example is the Public Health Center located at Martin Luther King campus. This sits in an unincorporated area of the County of Los Angeles, but it serves the heart of your city. It serves residents that have significant unmet public health and healthcare needs. But it epitomizes what we do as a county and how we serve everyone from the rich to the poor. Public health and the disease that we monitor doesn't see economic strata. All they see is individuals. Now, at this point, I want to ask that you strongly consider this resolution and, one, the detrimental impact it will have to the county and your city as a whole, but also the financial consequences to the city. Because I know the city is struggling. This is a city that I spent 10 years in, and a big part of my heart and soul is still with this city. But it's just not the finances, folks. Think about the threat that this initiative will create to the public health for everyone in the city of Los Angeles, in the county of Los Angeles. Now, Dr. Fielding.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to talk before you. You know, I wake up every morning with one concern, and that is, what are the threats to the health of everybody in Los Angeles County, including LA City? And particularly in LA City, as your health officer, I say, what are we going to do to find them early and to control them? I want to make sure that those kids sitting back there have a bright future with respect to health, with respect to safety. And that's what you ask us to do, and that's what we do every day. As Director of Public Health and Health Officer, remember that I am your health officer, and I've had many opportunities to interface with many of you here and appreciate our work together. While I'm here to speak about the motion concerning the ballot initiative that may be put before the voters of Los Angeles City to decide whether to enact an ordinance within the city municipal code that would require the city to, number one, create a separate public health department within 120 days of the ordinance, terminate the 1964 contract between the city and county of Los Angeles, which allowed the transfer of public health responsibilities from city to county, and that provided for the county to enforce all state and local public health laws within the area of the city. It would furthermore prohibit the city from entering into a contract with the county to enforce public health laws or permit the county to enforce such laws within the jurisdiction of the city, and would use all current public health license and other public health fees collected and paid to the county for the enforcement of public health laws within the city to pay all costs for the establishment of the newly formed City Health Department. And finally, to generate any future revenue for a City Health Department from the collection of license, permit, and other fees generated by the enforcement of the city's public health code. As you know, the proponents of the initiative are Michael Weinstein, president of the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, Mark Roy McGrath, Dennis Griffith, Mary Jane Jackson, and Gerard Kensla. Just as background, before commenting on the initiative, I want to provide some additional background information regarding public health services in LA County. LA County has provided public health services since 1858. The City of LA began operating a separate health department in 1879, and Los Angeles City and County departments were merged in 1964. The rationale for the county-wide public health enforcement model was to reduce duplication and to improve efficiency of services for area-wide problems, and the city's desire to transfer the financial responsibility for public health services to the county's tax base. 3 of the 88 cities within the county, Long Beach, Pasadena, and Vernon, still maintain their own separate public health departments. Vernon provides no public health services other than environmental health. There's only one other city health department in California, which is Berkeley. Each city or county that maintains a public health department is required to employ a physician as the local health officer, and the local health officer in turn is required to enforce all state statutes and regulations pertaining to public health and all local public health laws. About our mission and function, our mission is to protect health, to prevent disease, and to promote health of all persons in LA County. We focus on the population of LA County as a whole, and through a network of health professionals working throughout the county, we conduct a broad and complex scope of activities to protect and improve the health of Los Angeles residents. We monitor health status to identify and address community health problems. We diagnose and we investigate communicable diseases, vector-borne diseases, and environmental health threats. We prepare for and respond to public health emergencies. We collaborate with community partners to implement programs to identify and address health problems. We provide information to the medical community regarding emerging health issues and threats. We develop policies and plans that support individual and community health efforts. We provide health alerts. We provide consumer information to assist the public and enforce law and regulations that protect public health and ensure safety. And we provide comprehensive public health services through 39 distinct programs. As your health officer for the city and county of LA, I want to let you know what our department does for you every day. Emergency preparedness planning and response activities to protect the public from pandemics, from bioterrorism, and other public health threats. Prevention and control of diseases transmitted between people, such as syphilis, such as tuberculosis, chlamydia, HIV, and influenza. Prevention and control of diseases that originate in animals or birds, such as rabies, West Nile, typhus, and bird flu. Prevention and control of diseases and hazards that originate in the environment, such as Legionnaire's disease, valley fever, and lead poisoning. Disease surveillance through hospital, physician, and pharmacy reports, with particular attention to emerging diseases and infections. Environmental health and sanitation services, such as restaurant, apartment, landfill, public pool, and water safety inspections, and identification and intervention for toxic exposures. Chronic disease prevention, such as nutrition and physical activity programs and smoking cessation. Maternal, adolescent, and child health programs and services such as to support and case manage teen mothers through the Nurse-Family Partnership, quality assurance for prenatal care, and newborn screening. Injury prevention programs, prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation for substance use disorders, coordination of services for children with special health care needs, health education and promotion programs such as presentation to community groups in the many languages spoken by large numbers of residents throughout the county, a state-of-the-art public health laboratory that provides preparation and analysis of clinical and environmental samples to identify disease and bioterrorist agents, vital record services such as birth and death certificates, public health nursing services such as clinical public health disease investigation and community-level promotion of emergency preparedness, public health investigation services that serve as the legal enforcement arm for the health officer in locating and ensuring people with communicable disease who in turn pose a threat to the public's health. We have 4,462 budgeted staff positions, which include public health nurses and disease specialty physicians, laboratory scientists, epidemiologists, research analysts, statisticians, health economists, clinical social workers, community workers, and administrative staff. Many of these job classifications are highly specialized, and they're very hard to recruit and fill. Our Department of Public Health workforce collaborates with a wide variety of public and community-based partners to fulfill our mission. As of last week, we had 710 active contracts. The majority of these are for substance abuse prevention and control, HIV and other sexually transmitted disease prevention, screening and control, chronic disease and injury prevention, environmental health, and acute communicable disease control. I was going to, no? Collaboration with the county's other health and human service departments is vital in protecting and improving the health of county residents. And as a county-wide agency, we're able to partner with our sister departments in providing coordinated, comprehensive services to residents throughout the county. For example, our maternal, child, and adolescent health programs work with the Department of Public Social Services and Children and Family Services to serve children's health needs effectively, including making sure they have adequate nutrition and access to health insurance. Our public health nurses work closely with the Department of Children and Family Services social workers to identify and address the health needs of children in foster care. Our department and the Department of Mental Health collaborate to provide services countywide to those with co-occurring mental health and substance abuse disorders. We work with health services in the provision of specific health-related services, HIV, AIDS, tuberculosis, and the implementation of the Affordable Care Act. We also partner with county departments in planning and implementing services that address countywide priorities, such as improving services to the homeless, improving developmental outcomes for young children, and the like. We provide services to all residents of the county, regardless of city of residence. Most services benefit the population as a whole and do not allow for quantification by residents in a specific city. However, we do know that among all visits to our 14 public health clinics last year, 46% are made by City of Los Angeles residents. So now our preliminary review of the ballot initiative. Approval of the initiative would require the city to create and fund its own public health department and construct a large infrastructure to enforce all state and local public health laws within its jurisdiction. Separating city public health services from county could prove challenging given the size and geography of the two jurisdictions. Dividing these responsibilities could complicate and in fact compromise our ability to quickly and appropriately respond to public health threats. Communicable disease reporting could be complicated, as physicians and hospitals would need to identify the appropriate agency to report infectious and communicable disease. Multi-jurisdictional disease investigations would require more time and more resources. Restaurants with multiple locations would be regulated by two different public health departments, and they might have entirely different approaches to letter grading. So you might see letter grading in the county and not in the city, or it might be a very different system. And also consumer complaints could be fragmented. Independent research studies have found that large health departments are stronger performers in fulfilling the nationally recognized essential public health services because they benefit from economies of scale as well as a more robust funding base. Nationally, county and combined city-county jurisdictions have found to be the strongest performers in providing public health services. This consolidation model reflects the national push towards public health accreditation, with its emphasis on quality improvement and providing the full range of essential services. The initiative requires the city to establish a fully functional new public health department within 120 days from the enactment of the ordinance. Based on our experience, it is unrealistic to expect the creation of a functional public health department in this time frame, given the wide scope of state-mandated service requirements, and would require a substantial amount of funding, infrastructure development, staffing, and technical assistance. The city would also need to create its own environmental health program and set up a corresponding fee structure. State law requires that these fees be used only to offset the actual cost of the environmental health services provided and cannot be used to support other departmental services. The current county fee structure was calculated based on a county-wide permit inspection scheme. Currently, the fees charged by LA County are lower than the fees charged by other city health departments in the state, Pasadena, Long Beach, and Berkeley, due, we believe, in large part to economies of scale. Fees could increase for both city and county businesses if the city establishes a separate public health department. The proposed measure would also restrict the city's administrative authority by barring its ability to contract with the county for any enforcement of public health laws. In terms of financial implications, we currently have a budget of $832 million, made up of $181 million in net county cost contribution, $100 million in fees collected for environmental health inspections and vital records requests, and $573 million in grant funding and other revenues. Our grant funding includes $486 million in state, federal, and foundations award, of which about $50 million is awarded to the health jurisdiction and could be available to the city should the ballot initiative pass. That's about 10%. The city's share at 40% of the population in LA County would be estimated at about $20 million. The remainder of the grant funding that LA County receives are grants that are restricted and can only come directly to the county, or grants that were competitively won and designated to the county. We received $25 million in sales tax realignment, the county share of the state 1991 realignment, for which local jurisdictions are not eligible to receive a share. The $30 million in Measure B trauma funds are allocated for our Department for Emergency Preparedness and Bioterrorism Prevention. The city would not be eligible for those funds. We received $30 million in other revenues, including substance abuse fines and fees, other small programs, and public health reimbursements of expenses, and other miscellaneous revenues. Again, the city would not be eligible to receive these funds. A potential reduction of $107 million in revenue and fee cost recovery for the county could result from passage of the initiative, including reduction in fee grant revenues and the NCC associated with a reduction in clinical and field services. We estimate that $35 million in fee paid by business owners is attributable to those businesses located within LA City. So under the proposed measure, we would lose the workload and associated fees. As Bill Fujioka indicated, we have clinics, 5 clinics within LA City boundaries, and another 9 clinics, and 46% of all those visiting those clinics as patients come from LA City. There could be significant reductions and elimination of some of those clinics and the field staff that those centers hold. We also think that this could if the city decided to have a separate health department, it could reduce some of our competitive grants that we currently get. We estimate that based on our preliminary review and the public health experience that we share, it would require at least $50 million annually in order to provide the same level of services that we do, plus, of course, the additional startup. So for all these reasons, we are here to talk to you about this and to indicate our comments on this, and happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. You know, my concerns, members, are the financial aspects of this. And we have to realize that back in 1964, it was the opinion of the city leaders, for financial reasons and to try to obtain better service, that they work out an arrangement with the county that's been going on for a long time. What I have done as the chair of rules is ask for a financial analysis that will come back on the 19th of June. At that point in time, the actual ballot measure and our financial analysis will be back before this council. We will have our discussion on it at that point in time. So I want to thank the 3 of you for coming, and there's no speakers on the queue. So let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes, 1 no.
I just need a minute. I'm trying to figure out who the no might be. Anyway, thank you. And again, Bill and Doc, it's good to see both of you again. And Miguel, it's always a pleasure. Mr. Huizar, did you have, thank you again. Mr. Huizar, 33?
Yes, sir.
Was it, you called that special?
I did, sir.
I do not believe there are any cards on 33. So let's move to item 33.
Thank you.
Mr. Parks, before you start.
See if we could hear 13 soon, because we have a commissioner that's here.
Okay.
Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues, this item concerns the recent findings of high levels of arsenic and cancer risks associated with the operations of Exide Technologies in Vernon. A few months ago, it was discovered that this facility was polluting and putting out more levels of arsenic that would possibly be allowed under our air quality rules, and it was affecting the city of Los Angeles, particularly the community of Boyle Heights, and it faced the highest risks amongst the 110,000 residents affected by this pollution. And since this arsenic pollution was revealed, the plant has been shut down due to toxic contamination of its wastewater. It happened that the state officials went in to look at the arsenic, and they actually found that there was some toxic contamination related to wastewater. It was leaking into the soil, and now they are under review by state agencies. A series of public meetings are being held by Exide and the Air Quality Management District beginning this week. I ask that we approve this item today, which takes a position for the City of Los Angeles so that it could be presented at those community meetings. And we call upon AQMD and DTSC to ensure that modern pollution controls are fully in place before the facility is allowed to resume operations. We are also calling on the state for a full investigation as to how Exide was allowed to operate under an interim permit for 31 years. So, colleagues, ask for your support. I urge an aye vote on this resolution stating the official position of the City of Los Angeles as it relates to the ongoing investigations of Exide Technologies in the City of Vernon. Thank you.
Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to rise, first of all, to applaud Mr. Huizar for his advocacy on behalf of his constituents and their health in a really terrible environmental situation created by this plant. And I did want to observe that it's ironic that we're considering this right after we're considering the matter of the City Department of Health, because Vernon is one of only 3 cities in the county that has its own Department of Health. And despite only serving 200 residents of the city of Vernon, somehow the city's Department of Health in Vernon was unable to identify this arsenic risk, and it took state regulators to come in and identify it. So it's yet another example, I think, of both why we need stringent state environmental regulations, but also why this idea of a city health department is probably not well taken, particularly when it comes to identifying environmental risks such as this one. So I ask for your aye vote.
Okay. With that said, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, at Mr. Parks' request, we're going to do item 13. You know what, Mr. Parks? Before you speak, I have one card on it. Why don't you let me get that out of the way? The commissioner, please come forward. Where are you? And I'm so sorry for the delay, and I appreciate Mr. Parks reminding me that you were here. So we'll have one public comment card, and that's Mr. Arnold Sachs on item 13. Please come forward.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Arnold Sachs. Congratulations on your appointment. It's relatively important with the situation that the city finds itself in as far as its debt and its upcoming debts that it's looking at, that neighborhood councils and the neighborhood commissioners get more involved in revenue that's available to the city councils. There's pipeline revenue, pipeline oil revenue. There's bus bench revenue. There's AB 1290 revenue. There's Sunshine Canyon and Lopez Canyon amenity revenue. All these sources of revenue are not considered in the city budgets, but are available to council districts and council offices. Neighborhood commissioners and neighborhood councils need to step up and make sure that they get a portion of that funding. They're more in control.
Okay, Mr. Parks.
Thank you very much. Ms. Mack, we're sorry we could not get you in committee, but we had a long meeting, and I'd just like for you to take the time to explain to council and the public your interest in this committee and your background, because I think you're one of the few people that have been in the neighborhood council process as an active member of a neighborhood council office holder and now being considered for a commission spot.
Thank you, Councilman Parks. Thank you, President Wesson. It's an honor to be before you all this morning, and I'm grateful that Mayor Villaraigosa appointed me to the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners. I've been a lifelong Los Angeles resident, with the exception of 4 years away for college at UC Irvine, and I've lived the last 14 years in South Los Angeles in Council District 8. I am a communications consultant. I've been working with numerous nonprofit organizations, political campaigns, ministries, helping them shape their messaging in the community, assisting them with creating events that elevate their profile and their activities and their work in the communities. I've been a part of the neighborhood council system for the last several years. I was first just an engaged stakeholder, like many residents in Los Angeles come to just kind of check out the NC system. I became an at-large member on the board of Empowerment Congress Central Area Neighborhood Development Council, and then I served as the treasurer. During that time, I worked with the South LA Alliance of Neighborhood Councils. I served as a budget advocate couple of years ago, which was a great experience working with the budgeting process. And I'm currently involved with other South LA organizations, the South LA Power Coalition. We're doing a lot of work around the recent elections, voter education, et cetera. And I think working with the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners will be a great opportunity to really further the work of neighborhood councils, the public participation that neighborhood councils are called to do, increase public participation. I'm just looking forward to being a part of that process and bringing the South LA neighborhood councils in particular to a better place and seeing them put to their highest and best use.
Also, I believe there's a process going on called the Congress. Have you been playing a role in that in the sense of the process of relooking at the entire operations of the neighborhood councils?
Well, yeah, actually, just recently, over the weekend, over the holiday weekend, there was a neighborhood council review plan meeting in Hollywood. I did sit in with the other commissioners, so I have been abreast of all of the issues that are being reviewed right now, and just kind of, informally encouraging the South LA neighborhood councils to be a part of that process and kind of getting a feel of what the feedback is.
Okay. Well, let me say thank you. And colleagues, in the documents that were presented, it's a very thorough package of her background, her ethics report, and I'd ask for an aye vote because I think she's clearly qualified and interested in this position.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. Mr. Buscaino.
Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. Parks, for bringing a fine constituent on the board. Ms. Mack, thank you for your ongoing commitment and dedication to our city. I heard in your testimony you have a great knowledge of communications, and that's your background.
Yes.
As a commissioner, how do you plan on bringing forth your skills, knowledge, and ability on communicating and using your tools to get the message out, whether it's getting residents to vote, or getting newsletters out and letting all the boards and neighborhood councils know what folks are doing day in and day out?
Well, I mean, Dunn has a great communication staff, and I've noticed that a lot of the neighborhood councils just aren't clear what the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners does. They're unsure of the role of BONC. So I would just hope to help to clarify that, in the settings that I go in neighborhood councils, and continue to make neighborhood councils aware of all of the different mechanisms that they can continue to connect, not only with each other, but with the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners, with the City Council, letting folks know they can just call in to meetings and listen, to City Council,
and also,
to the committees, et cetera.
If also, you might want to consider also using our social media tools as well, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and letting folks know day in and day out what the hard work, not only the commissioners, BONC's doing. Gracie Liu, I believe, has an incredible, I see you, an amazing newsletter. So thank you, Ms. Liu, for your continued commitment to that as well. I see you have is that your kids sitting behind you?
I have
All right.
my son, Brian Mack. He's a senior at View Park.
All right.
And he's a Posse Scholar going to University of Wisconsin-Madison in
All
the
right.
fall. And my daughter, 10th grader, Simone Mack.
So they've blessed this as well. They're okay with you doing
they're
great.
okay with it. They understand the meetings in the evenings
All right.
and et cetera. So.
Well, Ms. Mack, you're a great example to us all and also to your kids as well. So congratulations. You got my support.
Thank you.
Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Mack, thank you very much for your engagement in neighborhood empowerment and your willingness to step forward and help to lead the entire movement citywide through BONC. Mr. Buscaino, I think, asked the $64,000 question, which everyone is asking, which is, how do we do better outreach? How do we get people more engaged? How do we inspire people to both to run and to vote? And I appreciate your professional background that will help you, I hope, in trying to strategize that. Another one of the significant systemic problems that I've seen and been concerned about is inequity across our city in resources and activity level and expertise and so on. There are some neighborhood councils that are functioning very well, some that are just struggling even to continue in operation. And I'm wondering if you've given any thought to how to establish sharing of information and expertise from neighborhood council to neighborhood council so that those that are higher functioning can bring along those that need more help to get going. Have you given any thought to that?
I have, and since I've been a part of the neighborhood council system, there have been several mechanisms put in place to assist those struggling neighborhood councils, and councils for councils, that's been implemented by Don, and that's, the wheels are turning, and we certainly want to make sure South LA benefits from having those seasoned neighborhood council members come in and mentor the newer, everybody has a new board right about now, so mentor those new neighborhood council leaders and just, share best practices.
Great. Well, I'm very excited about your appointment. Dunn, as you know, has gone through just horrible, horrible cuts, as have each of the neighborhood councils in their funding program. And this is a vital part of the governance of our city to encourage greater activity at the grassroots level, more neighborhood engagement and priority setting. We need the neighborhood councils. We need a vibrant BONC and a vibrant Dunn, and I really appreciate your willingness to be a part of it, and I'm looking forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Krikorian. Okay, let's see if we can get this thing done. Let's prepare to vote. Madam Clerk, let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, I believe, and I'm looking at Mr. Reyes, that an agreement has been made to continue item 19 for 1 week till Tuesday. Okay, Mr. Reyes acknowledges that. What date is that, Madam Clerk?
June 4th.
Okay, so that item will be continued. Okay, now I want to, on item 15, Sean Murphy. Item 15.
Yes, good morning, Mr. President. Item 15. I'm supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Let's, on this item, Madam Clerk, open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Sean, item 23. Held special by you. Item 23.
Yes, item 23 is Public Works. I support the item. We need the item.
Okay, stay there, Sean, because we're going to do your other one next, item 25. So, members, let's prepare to vote on this one. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, now we move to item 25, again called special by Sean.
Yes, item 25. I'm for it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. On this item, members, let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Walsh, you're the next two items. We'll be doing item 22 and item 26. If you would please come forward. Right now, we're on item 22.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Hello to all the city councilmen who are here. Mr. Garcetti, of course, left.
Let's stay on the item.
And we're now dealing with item number 22. We're on item number 22. And item 22 is waiving the requirement of street trees. In other words, this is about destroying a street tree. They're going to they have to get the Urban Forestry Division to waive the requirement of 5 additional street trees necessary. So in other words, we're going to get 5 fewer trees. I actually read the agenda packets. This is obscene. We want all our trees. Come to our website, HollywoodHighlands.org. Read our new post. 1 minute.
Thank you. Okay, don't go far, Mr. Walsh. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Members, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, now we're item 26, Mr. John Walsh.
Item 26. That was just, they just killed 6 trees there. Number 26 is the most important agenda item here. We will be doing a major post on this. This is an audit of the city's emergency planning efforts and citywide disaster preparedness. We are not prepared for a disaster. We're near bankruptcy, and the first thing that's gone is disaster preparedness. And this audit points out where the problems are. And none of you have read it. Raise your hand if anybody has read this whole thing. Not a single person has read this audit. And this is and incidentally, if you want to read the audit and you're out there, all you have to do is go to the agenda and check 12-0793. In other words, you can go and read the audit online. Now, they've got people on their staff that'll do it, but nothing's been done. We have serious problems. There could be an earthquake tomorrow. There could be an earthquake 5 minutes from now. And remember, there's 2 subway tunnels underneath MacArthur Park Lake. The lake will break, the cement bottom will break, we will lose the entire red line. Nobody talks about the issue of disaster preparedness. You have heard it wasn't an issue. A big issue here is the schools. You have no control over the schools. You have total control over disaster preparedness. I want you to get the fire chief up here. I want you to get the police chief up here and say everything is hunky-dory. We are totally prepared. You can't. They have no interest in this issue. Just as when I got up and said Al-Qaeda was at the Vine Street Theater, you had no interest. And now, when Al-Qaeda struck using Innocence of Muslim movie, I had 80,000 entries on Google, John Walsh. The article about my speaking here was in the Times of India. I am the person who tells you where the problems are, and you don't listen. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll. Oh, Richard, Mr. Alacon.
Yeah, council members, I just feel compelled to respond to Mr. Walsh's assertions. The fact of the matter is, LA is as prepared as any major city in the world when it comes to disasters. And now, since serving in office for 20 years, 6 months after starting, we had the Northridge earthquake. And floods. Prior to that, working for Mayor Bradley, and in fact, I worked as the emergency operations coordinator for the personnel department, and can say that this city is very much prepared, as much as any city can be. And that's not to say that we are not seeking continuous improvement. Anything can happen, and certainly with the new terrorist reality, that brings a new twist to our challenge of keeping our city safe during disasters. But I think it is absolutely wrong for Mr. Walsh to suggest that our emergency operations and disaster preparedness is miserably, however he described it. The fact is we are prepared, that we're not perfect, but that is why so many places that have disasters call upon our specialists to come in and help them during their disasters. So I think it's unfair, and I just wanted to correct the record.
Thank you. Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, now we're moving to item 28. Mr. Sachs, are you still here? Please work your way. It's item 28, called special by Mr. Sachs. Mr. Sachs.
Yeah, well, yes, thank you. Good morning again, Arnold Sachs. Just out of curiosity, because both the Courtyard and the Residence Inn project are already part of the South Park neighborhood, which has a business improvement district. You're going to create a new community taxing district. And since they're part of a state economic zone, which allows them to be paid $45,000 for each new employee, for each employee they hire, not necessarily new employees, how will that integrate into your taxing zone? And the transit-oriented tax that's created by both of these hotels, what is the status on that? You've already given away transit-oriented tax on the new hotels that are going up here on 7th and Figueroa and the one by Staples Center. And Mr. Alarcon, I actually thought you were going to say that you actually read the Indian Times to find out about John Walsh.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. If you would open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
16, John Walsh and Arnold Sachs. Item 16, John Walsh and Arnold Sachs. Arnold, please come forward. You're the closest. Okay, Mr. Walsh passes. It's Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you again. This involves the federal sequestration on the HACLA. But we already know from previous meetings that HACLA is a nonprofit that doesn't have to inform the city of a budget or any of its doings per se, because it operates as a nonprofit. It pays no taxes. So how do you find concerns about a nonprofit that pays no taxes, has no agenda that's open to the public, and yet can cry uncle about cuts that nobody really knows about? It's also been audited as a refuge for trash because of the leadership that's been there that hasn't actually created any real new housing in the city of Los Angeles. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Alarcon.
Again, to correct the record, HACLA is not a nonprofit entity. It is a government entity and therefore doesn't pay taxes, like any government entity. So Mr. Sachs is wrong. Although I would say that we have improved the relationship between HACLA in the sense that they have agreed by memorandum of understanding to address the council as if we should invite them to come to us. We did have a problem with that in the last couple of years, and we've changed that, so that's a good thing.
Thank you. Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Before we vote, Mr. Walsh and Mr. Sachs, if you guys could come forward, because we have item 21 next. So on this item, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, item 21, John Walsh, Arnold Sachs. Item 21.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. This is the most important item now. This concerns the Brown Act and Sacramento. What they want to do is strengthen the Brown Act. Remember, I have no right to appear here. If you went to New York City, you would sit in a chair watching the city council for 100 years with no right to stand up here. What this new law says, which is in Sacramento, is that every single city council meeting, advisory committee meeting, everything must be televised. For every city, everything under the brown. This is very, very, very important. It is politically correct, isn't it? What do you want? Have everything televised. Remember, they could cancel this now. They can edit me. They can do anything they want to what I say now, and it's not a crime. Now, if you pass this, and what is what is their recommendation? Vote against this. Vote against televising. That's what's right up here. And what I'm saying now is, and we know what the vote's going to be. It's going to be 11-0 to support what? Not televising these meetings. What they want to do is edit these down and edit us out. That's what they want. And fortunately, we have somebody up there in Sacramento that this is AB 185 Hernandez, amend or outcome back to require local entities collect cable television if you have cable television to televise open and public meetings of the advisory committees of everything, planning commission of everything. And what are these fascists up here? Politically correct fascists, incidentally. Politically correct. They want to shut this down. That's why we're asking you now, HollywoodHighlands.org, vote to straighten.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you again, Arnold Sachs. And here I thought item 26 was the most important item on the agenda. I can go back and look on the television and see. But actually, the state legislation already beat the public down by not requiring public access TV anymore on cable providers. That was the real loss for the public. The fact that you want to incur costs for minor commissions, for the only important really meeting here is what happens here. And the County Board of Supervisors keep these meetings televised. You can't even televise the meeting from Van Nuys City Hall anymore because of the costs incurred. Start there before you worry about commissions. And try. I know Councilman Smith was here. He said there was a lawsuit about public access.
Thank you. Okay, let's prepare to vote on that item. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
9 ayes, 2 noes.
Okay, next we're going to go to item 34. Arnold Sachs and John Walsh. Is Mr. Walsh half time? He's out of time, so Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you again. And my last minute will be about one of my favorite funds. $424,000 in AB 1290 funds available for Parks and Recreation, for the Griffith Park. And again, it's not a problem about the programs per se. It's a problem about the revenue that's not included in the budget. Collection of items in the City Council agenda for a yearly basis. How many items are funded through AB 1290 funds? I'll guarantee you there's over 200. And they're not cheap. And yet no source of revenue is accounted for because it goes straight to the council district, which means it goes straight to the council office. There needs to be accountability. There needs to be people stepping up in the neighborhood councils to take advantage of that.
Excuse me, Mr. President, a substitute motion has been circulated for this item.
Okay, we do have Councilman Alarcon on the queue.
Calling?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to rise to commend Councilmember Tom LaBonge for giving this. He has the opportunity with AB 1290 funds to spend this money on anything he chooses, and he chooses to use it to extend the observatory for a 6th day and pay for a Griffith Park superintendent, and that is for the benefit of everybody who visits the observatory. So I don't know what Mr. Sachs was talking about. This is a good use of public money. The revenue stream is very clear. It comes from Community Redevelopment Agency discretionary or tax increment funding. 20% go to the City of Los Angeles for discretionary purposes, and that power has been allocated to the council members of the district where the CRA is. It's all very clear, and Mr. Lavange is essentially giving this as a gift to the City of Los Angeles, and I want to thank him for that, even though he's not here.
Thank you, Councilmember. See no one else on the queue. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, that passes. Next item, ma'am.
Item 1, call special for cards.
Okay, we do have several cards on this one. Item 1, we have Surjit Dillon on 1E, Sean on 1E, and John Walsh is out of time.
Yes, item 1, I am against all liens. It should be banned.
Thank you, Sean. Surjit Dillon, please.
Mr. President and respected council members, this item 1E is to put a lien on our property. This is because a tenant has not been able to pay his fees because of the recession problems and bad business. And we have reduced his rent to keep him in business. That have created 3 jobs at least in the city of Los Angeles. We are asking for the city to waive these fees he couldn't pay because of the circumstances. I think we are asking the city to do its part to preserve some of these jobs in the city and keep this tenant keep in business. And also, because of these old fees, because of the city of Los Angeles is barred from collecting fees that old because of the statute. Thank you, Your Honor. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Zine?
Is this the one on Sherman Way? Okay, I just wanted to, for the record, the fees were back fees for a number of years. The city has waived a penalty on this particular matter. So in consideration, penalties have been waived, but the dollar value, I believe it's $1,900, is due. The owner is current with his fees, the inspection fees, but this dates back about 4 or 5 years where the fees were not paid for a long period of time, and in consideration of the owner, the city has waived the penalty on top of that. So the fee is due, so I recommend that we collect that fee, which is righteously due to the city. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Seeing no one else on the queue, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
That takes council to general public comment.
Okay. We have Sean with us for public comment. Then Jennifer Georgides. If you'd please stand behind Mr. Sean. And then
Yes, good morning. This damn election, I am so damn glad it's over. I voted for Wendy Crew, Dennis Zine for city controller. They both lost. This election was not great. They ought to count the ballots over again. The next election, 2015, better be better. The only good thing I'm saying about this, current Price is the new councilman for CD9. I support him. He's good. He should be better. He should be good for the city council. The rest of them, forget it.
Jennifer Georgides. Then we'll have Don Garza.
Hi, I live on South Orange Drive,
in the 10th District. I'm here today because the person I probably should be speaking with is Inspector Carlos Pelaez from the LAHD Tenant Habitability Plan. I say I should be speaking with him because I've attempted to contact him multiple times. This morning, when I did get him on the phone to go over some alarming lead exposure my children most likely went through under his supervision during ATHP in unpermitted work, non-licensed contractors with no follow-up lead testing after windows were replaced. When I got him on the phone, within 10 seconds of saying who I was and that I had the lab results, he told me, matter closed, matter closed. He yelled at me and told me that we were not going to discuss anything and that he could keep my lab results. And when I said, can I quote you on not refusing to speak to me, he said yes. That's what moms go through when they call the LAHD and speak with him. It's been my experience the entire time. I was not scared to get up here compared to talking to that man, and I don't think it's a tenant habitability plan he's running. It honestly feels like a landlord enablement plan. My landlord saved a lot of money, and I won't know for a week if my kids have lead poisoning or not. I thought you should know that, because that's what it's like, and I don't think many women would call back a second time or come and speak. And that's it.
Ms. Georgiades, what district are you in?
The 10th.
10th District. Okay, we'll have the staff follow up with that. My apologies.
I wasn't planning on coming today, but in light of recent events, in light of the fact that I was very successful in, advocating and working on behalf of somebody for 5.5 months, one of our old champions and allies of downtown Los Angeles, and Gil Cedillo, he's in. July 1st, we'll have Gil Cedillo back in downtown LA and all over the city of LA, championing the people of Los Angeles. I'm very disappointed because I had to do this simply because staffers from one of the council offices were very dismissive towards me, ignored me on a very important issue that's very close to my heart, very close to Mr. Cedillo's heart, very close to those that are trying to make downtown the shining jewel that it's supposed to be. I went to them, and they totally ignored me. The council member said go to them, but no response. So what did I have to do? Thank you. I learned a very valuable lesson. If they're not responsive, go find somebody else and get them elected in office, and let's get the responses there. I'm so happy about that. But I'm disappointed in this other matter. I thought these people were my friends. I thought these people, and I do honestly think that they care. But the fact of the matter is, on this very, very important issue, it's a very sensitive issue. It's an issue close to my heart. It helped me to get better physically. I know I've got to get back out there and get working out again because the campaign, it was like a lot of food, a lot of frijoles, a lot of chicken, a lot of, and we had to be out there knocking on the doors. But it's very sensitive. I want Gil to be able to have a handle on this issue first, and then maybe start working with the council I'm supposed to be working with. But he's in. Gil Cedillo's in, baby. He's back.
Thank you. John Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or at jwalshconfidential.wordpress.com. Come to us and see Garcetti slitting Wendy Gruhl's throat. Let me tell you what nobody in this city is saying. You just elected not one mayor, you elected 2 mayors. You elected a co-mayor. The co-mayor's name is Gil Garcetti. He runs the outfit. Eric Garcetti is an actor. He will play the role of the mayor. Nothing will get done. Everything has to be signed out as of July 1st by Gil Garcetti. That is the way it is. This is his revenge revenge over what O.J. Simpson did to him. Gil Garcetti is now the mayor. Come to our website. We have pointed this out. His son is just an actor, a professional actor. And there isn't one of you up here that doesn't know what I'm saying is true, and the LA Times won't print it, and the scumsuck bloggers won't print it because they're in love with with Eric Garcetti. Hey, answer me this. Who is Bradley's father? Who cares? Who is Reardon's father? Who cares? Who is any of the Hans' father? Go back to Frank Shaw. But now, in the city, in the United States, the most powerful father of a mayor is Gil Garcetti, and he will wreak revenge on every one of you who supported Wendy. Everyone knows I'm right. Just when I told you that Al-Qaeda was at Divine Street, and I'm telling you right now, HollywoodHighlands.org for the truth that the LA Times and the punk bloggers won't print. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Okay, Arnold Sachs. Then I believe it was Jared Georgidis, but I believe he left. Jared? Okay.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Arnold Sachs. I believe Councilman Krikorian made a comment about a $64,000 question, how to get constituents more involved when you had the appointee for the neighborhood councils up here. And in yesterday's newspaper, or I believe Sunday's newspaper, there's an article by Steve Lopez. Start small, Mr. Garcetti. A big vision is fine, but he needs to focus on potholes and trees. And yet, if Mr. Lopez had been paying attention, he would have heard the City Council authorize $240 million of Measure Our Local Return funding, which is supposed to be used for streets and potholes for the downtown streetcar. But Measure Our Local Return funding doesn't say anything about a downtown streetcar. Then he would have heard, if he had gone to the MTA board meeting, that the city authorized $40 million for the Crenshaw Line station at Leimert Park. Local return funding. But it doesn't authorize local return funding for the station at Leimert Park. So in two items, the City Council has authorized over the next 25 years $300 million. Now, doing a little quick math, the half-cent sales tax that the City Council wanted was going to raise $200 million. 15% of that, $30 million. 15 years of that, $450 million. Let's say for the next 15 years, it goes up to let's just say, for rounded out, $1 billion in local return funding is raised. You've just allocated $300 million of that for two items that aren't local return funding. And Steve Lopez wants you to start small. How about raise the bar on telling the truth?
Thank you very much. Our next speaker, Saeed Chahan Sahasmar.
Yes, my name is Syed Jahan Shah Samar. I came from Los Angeles, Palms area with my mother. We are full of pain regarding Mr. Parker has removed the bus stop on Massachusetts and Westwood, Santa Monica and Westwood, and the Westwood and National needs a bus increase, and also numbers of location doesn't have no bus bench, and he removed the bus stop strongly, which every disabled senior man and woman upset about this issue. Regarding the wheelchair is a federal issue that regarding the bus stop, that Mr. Paul Gorat removed the bus stop on Massachusetts and Westwood. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Yvonne Michelle Autry. Yvonne Michelle.
Yes, I'd like to congratulate Eric Garcetti and his election as mayor, and also Curran Price. I'm from Inglewood. I was born in Inglewood, educated in Inglewood St. Mary's Academy, and I knew Curran from Inglewood, and I just feel so confident in having him here. I'm so glad Curran was elected. And I'd like to continue in exposing the criminal hidden practice of incriminating those of us who use our constitutional right to organize, to freedom of speech, to publish, and to dissent. Most recently, there's been an increased attack on LA Can. I intended to make this announcement at the police commissioners meeting, but it was not held today, I suppose, because of the holiday yesterday. This is leading to the incrimination, demonization of those of us who represent anyone whose opinion is not desirable, anyone who is not, who's considered, what we're incriminated as problems and troublemakers. Again, this is a hidden, I believe, experiment and exercise in the population control, mass manipulation, and mind control that Homeland Security is condoning. There are funds that are being allocated for this, and I know about the hidden attacks on the citizens involving germ warfare, involving microwaves, laser beams, ultrasonic waves, and in the continued, I think the goal is to discourage, to disable, to dehumanize, and to disenfranchise these people who are still thinking and speaking for themselves and organizing to use the freedom of speech that we have to fight for. We are not criminals. We are not terrorists. I've been labeled that. I don't even own a gun. I'm a vegetarian. I mean, are you so afraid of me? What's the problem? You know, this is still America, democracy, even if it is in name only, and this has got to be for the record.
Thank you, ma'am. That does conclude public comment. Madam Clerk, what's before us?
Council has motions for post and referral.
Post and referred.
That clears the desk.
Members, any announcements? Seeing no announcements, any adjourning motions? Councilman Huizar, adjourning motions. Please stand. Everybody in the chamber, please stand. Sean, please stand. Everyone? No, stand, sir. Okay, Councilman Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have two adjourning motions. I ask that we first adjourn in memory of William Douglas Lansford, or Bill as he was known to most. Mr. Lansford was a true trailblazer in both the entertainment business and as an advocate for veterans. He passed away at his home in Playa del Rey on May 22nd. Douglas Lansford was born in East Los Angeles on July 13, 1922, the son of Frank Alva Stone, a police officer, and Rosalinda Melendez, a native of Chihuahua, Mexico. Bill's parents divorced before his birth, and Rosalina, a rising star in Los Angeles Spanish-language theater, eventually remarried. At 16, Bill left high school, joined the CC camps, and became a lumberjack. At 17, he became a dynamiter, blasting holes in the mountains ahead of road-building crews. In 1940, he joined the Marine Corps and was stationed in Iceland when Pearl Harbor was bombed. On his return, he joined the newly formed 2nd Marine Raider Battalion under the legendary Colonel Evans Carlson and participated in the Midway, Guadalcanal, and Bougainville campaigns. Later, he landed in Iwo Jima, where he was wounded. He also participated in the occupation of Japan. In 1945, he was discharged as a sergeant. Bill attended college under the GI Bill, then became a reporter on the Los Angeles Daily News. Later, he joined the Army to pursue a writing career with the Armed Forces Radio Service, where he wrote many military and network shows. During the Korean War, he requested field duty. He was commissioned a second lieutenant and posted to the 11th Airborne Division. Again requesting combat duty, he served as a military combat correspondent, covering numerous battles in various fronts. During his tour, he was promoted to first lieutenant. He was awarded the Purple Heart and Bronze Star. Back home, he moved to New York, writing for top magazines such as the Saturday Evening Post. In 1957, he married Ruth Ketchum, a Long Island native. In Los Angeles, Bill's biography of Pancho Villa, entitled Pancho Villa, was published, Paramount Studios filmed it as Via Ride, starring Yul Brynner, Robert Mitchum, and Charles Bronson. Hired as a story editor for Bonanza, Bill Rader wrote for many TV shows, including Chips, Starsky and Hutch, Ironside, Fantasy Island, and Star Trek, and movies such as The Deadly Tower, starring Kurt Russell and Ned Beatty. Bored by retirement, Bill soon unretired himself. He published several stories in Leatherneck magazine, an article for the Los Angeles Times. A collection of his previously published stories were published in the Fighting Leathernecks, where he talked about his experiences as a Marine. His latest book is a novel entitled The Wind and the Ships. Bill was president of the Obregon Medal of Honor Foundation, dedicated to erecting a monument at El Pueblo, Los Angeles, to the 40 Latino American Congressional Medal of Honor recipients. The foundation has already put up a wall of honor dedicated to all Medal of Honor recipients at the site and is now raising funds to complete the monument. If you recall, in 2007, documentary filmmaker Ken Burns originally did not include Latino soldiers in his documentary, The War, which was about Americans' involvement in World War II. After his involvement, they shot a new one which included additional footage that included Latinos. One of those that he interviewed and included in the final cut of this documentary was Bill Lansford. He was a role model and a great man. Bill is survived by his wife Ruth and two sons, William Jr. and Matthew. Certainly a well-lived life and someone who did so much to give to others here while he was here on this planet. Colleagues, I also ask that we adjourn in the memory of Heidi Marie Nixon, beloved staff member of the Downtown Center Business Improvement District. Heidi was born in Garrison, North Dakota, the youngest child of Ron and Judy Beeks. Heidi's father inspected missile silos for Boeing, and the family moved frequently during Heidi's childhood years, which she would joke later is what gave her the travel bug. The family finally settled in Gillette, Wyoming when Heidi was a teen. She attended Camel High School in Gillette and studied political science at the University of Wyoming. After college, Heidi worked as a cruise ship for Norwegian Cruise Lines. She had a strong love of travel and later held jobs in the travel industry in Portland, Oregon, and Los Angeles. She traveled extensively throughout the world, and her favorite place on earth was Kauai. Heidi was a talented musician throughout her life. She was a gifted singer and a pianist as a child, and as an adult, Heidi performed with several semi-professional singing groups. Heidi joined the Downtown Center Business Improvement District Marketing Department in 2000. She was extremely proud to be part of a terrific team of people and to be there at a critical time of change and revitalization in the downtown environment. She enjoyed all the parts of her marketing position and vigorously supported the downtown community in all parts of her life. Heidi's proudest accomplishment at the BID was the extremely successful renewal process for which she had a significant responsibility. She was also instrumental in the launch of the Grand Avenue Festival and subsequent annual celebration, the grand opening of the Gold Line, and hosting former U.S. Vice President Al Gore and his film An Inconvenient Truth during the LA Film Festival at California Plaza. In February 2008, Heidi was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. She was given little chance to live out the year, but instead fought cancer with determination, courage, and humor for more than 5 years. She endured countless chemo treatments and hospitalizations, but always did so with grace and a positive attitude. She fought this disease as hard as she could until the end. Heidi's Christian faith was a very important part of her life. She never gave up hope and often said how blessed she felt in her life even as the disease progressed. Heidi is survived by her husband David, her parents Ron and Judy, her sister Cindy, and her brother Dan, as well as nephews and nieces, and Archie, a terrier who was among many small dogs that Heidi loved and who loved her back throughout her life. May she rest in peace.
Thank you, Councilmember. Other adjourning motions? Councilmember Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to adjourn in memory of Ray Manzarek, who passed away last week on Monday at the age of 74 after a long bout with cancer. He was best known as a founding member and keyboardist for the legendary LA rock and roll group The Doors. He was born and raised on the south side of Chicago and graduated from DePaul University with a degree in economics. But it was while he was studying at UCLA in the Department of Cinematography that he met his wife-to-be, Dorothy Fujiwaka, and a fellow film student named Jim Morrison. Soon after graduating, he and Morrison ran into each other at Venice Beach, and Morrison casually mentioned that he'd written a few songs. Manzarek asked to hear some. Morrison sang one to him called Moonlight Drive, and the rest was rock and roll history. They founded The Doors on the spot, recruiting John Densmore as a drummer and guitarist Robbie Krieger. The Doors became the house band at the Whiskey A Go-Go in 1966, and shortly thereafter were signed to a major record label. The group had a mercurial rise to the top, with their best-known song being the huge #1 hit, Light My Fire. The heart of their songs were Jim Morrison as the lead singer, and the haunting and often jazzy organ riffs put in by Ray. The group would falter and fall with the controversial arrest of Morrison, and also due to the toll of Morrison's lifestyle, which contributed to his death in 1971 at the age of 27. Manzarek would continue to record on a dazzling array of projects from the likes of classical composer Philip Glass, poet Michael McClure, Iggy Pop, Echo and the Bunnymen, Weird Al Yankovic, and former Door Robbie Krieger. He was also much sought after as a producer, where he would have a continuing impact on Los Angeles music, including in 1980 when he produced the classic debut album by the well-known punk group X, entitled Los Angeles. Manzarek also wrote a memoir about his life with the Doors, as well as 2 novels, and he's survived by his wife Dorothy, his son Pablo, 3 grandchildren, and he and the Doors will always be remembered not just by friends and family, but in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, in which they're enshrined, and in the hearts of countless fans.
Thank you, Councilmember. Any other adjourning motions? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned. Have a great day.